and welcome to the first episode of Talking Rainbows, Talking Puppies. Ba 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 ba. The first episode and the first Star Wars: The Force of Evil fan podcast for the show on Disney XD. I am your host, Eric Rivetta, voice actor. How you doing? With me is my co-host. What's up, co-host?
Yo, what's going on, man? This is me, Downloads Bacon, keeping it real and all that good stuff. But, enjoying a little bit of them nachos, why not, while I participate in this little podcast going on right now.
Some chips and queso. Queso. Why are we saying like that? We're Hispanic. Like, we know how to say it.
Queso.
Queso. Because, it's spelled with a K and an A. Oh, forget it. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on this, the first episode of the podcast, on this, the day of my daughter's wedding.
I was noticing you were doing that a lot.
I know, I just realized it sounded like that. It just came out that way, like that cadence, on this, the day of my daughter's wedding. That's an old Family Guy joke, a good Family Guy joke. Before it became all crappy.
Yes.
All right, so thank you for joining us. This podcast is really just something fun I wanted to do to help get the fandom through these trying times of the hiatus while season 2 of our favorite cartoon, Star Wars: The Force of Evil, is in production. So I also had some lofty goals for this show. I wanted to bring the fans together, get them something to rally them behind, and just have some fun, make this be interactive, and hopefully maybe later, if we're lucky, get some interviews with some very interesting people. There's a lot of great fan artists in the community, like Jazzy Dark, Star Marionette too. We would also like, by some miracle, probably interview Adam MacArthur, the voice actor for Marco Diaz, who's actually very interactive with the fans on Periscope, on Twitter, and Brian H. Kim, who does the music for Star Wars: The Force of Evil, very cool, and maybe even one day Darren Nefsey, the creator of Star Wars: The Force of Evil.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Oh, excuse me, it's my throat. That.
It's all right. It would be the bomb diggity. People say that.
Yeah, it's hot with the kids right now. This shindig is the bomb diggity, yo.
Of course, that's what the kids say.
Avi totes adorbs.
It's the future now.
The future is now. Brr. That's not even. That's what. Why did I do that?
No idea.
Anyway, that's the goals I have for this show, for this podcast, to really get us together and let Disney XD know that we want a season 3. Like, we want more of this dimension hopping, narwhal blasting, monster mashing, good stuff.
Yeah. So all that good stuff going on there.
So much fun. So let's but that also brings up a interesting question. Like, what should the Star Wars: The Force of Evil fandom call themselves? Like, everyone has all the fandoms have little stupid nicknames. What should be ours,
Yes, play a little bit of music going on and be like, "Hello, everybody! Welcome all. It is now time for this game show. What should we call ourselves?"
Yes, I would like to play. I'm just gonna hit the buzzer. Please.
Calm down, Porky Pig. You see now. Anyway. I am not getting paid well enough to do this. Anyway, now you're our participant in this game show of, the title I just said. But now, I will now give you ideas as to what should we call ourselves. Now,
okay. The Bronies.
Unfortunately, that one is taken, sir.
The Star Muse.
That's a Pokemon.
The Starmites.
Oh my god. Really?
What? Star Mites. See, it's really good. It's a good because the main character is named Star.
This guy sucks. The host just gives up and leaves.
But I tried. I just really wanted to win the new car. Do I get a new car?
No, you don't get. You know what I think of that idea? Gets the car keys, takes it. Wait, my no, car, it's like my car. Where's my paycheck? Drives off.
Oh man, but that is an interesting question. Like, if the fandom should have a nickname, what should the little fans be called? What should the fans be called? Because there are the bronies, the Trekkies, and whatever.
Yes, the pet shoppers, all these other, Unfortunately, for right now, I don't know why I'm blanked out on names. Apparently, there are some that don't have names, but I feel like Star should probably have a name for the fan base, especially for it being a very fun show.
Yeah, it's weird. The largest fandom ever, the freaking Star Wars fandom, they don't have a nickname. They don't have like a moniker. Like, I guess you could go up to the Star Wars fan and be like, "Hey, look at these fucking Jedis," but then they'll go all offended and be like, "The fuck you call me? I ain't no Jedi, I'm a Sith." It's like, whoa, calm down there, Kylo Ren, or whatever the fuck that bad guy's name is. Yeah, you want to simmer down there, Darth Maul?
Yeah, it's like, I guess they don't want a name for themselves because they're just, Han Solo.
Han Solo Burger.
Yes.
Where did I get that from? I don't know what that's from.
No idea, but I know that no one thinks that Jar Jar comes with pickles.
That's dumb. Anyway, let's get back on track. The first episode is where it all started and where we're going to start with this show. We're going to start with our review of Star Comes to Earth. We're going to give our thoughts. We're going to give some of the fandom's thoughts that we saw on Twitter and on Tumblr, and then we'll talk about that for a bit. A little bit of background first. I first heard about Star vs. the Force of Evil on Tumblr because someone posted up the intro, the opening sequence, and I thought it was really cute. I thought it was really creative. I'm like, oh, this is, it's good to see Disney XD make an original show another original cartoon show, because I rue the day, I hate the day that networks found out that it's so much cheaper and easier to make several crappy live action shows than it is to make one good cartoon show. Because man, we've had years of Nickelodeon, Disney, and even fucking Cartoon Network just put out shitty, crappy, just really bad, lame, lazy live action shows and skimp out on the whole cartoon thing.
Yes, we rule the day of CN Real.
Oh, yes, oof. But luckily that's changed over the past few years, and now we got shows like Steven Universe, we got shows like Star, we got shows like Gravity Falls, and we're going to talk about Star today. And the first episode came out on Disney Channel as like some sort of special sneak preview, and then months later down the road, finally the first episode of Star showed up. And we got the initial run, which is a pretty dang good success, if I do say so myself. Everyone loves it. The first episode got like 1,000,000.18 on the rating scale, which is big because not everyone has Disney XD in their homes.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it really was a big deal, especially for a cartoon to score 1 million. I mean, not to bring up another show, but My Little Pony doesn't actually score as high as that. It's a big deal.
Yeah, because that's because My Little Pony is like in the same boat. Not everyone has the hub. Not everyone has the hub in their cable networks. Well, I'm sorry, Discovery Family, whatever the fuck they decide. I like the hub better. But yeah, not everyone has Discovery Family. Same thing, Disney XD. Not everyone has Disney XD. So for them to reach that number, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Now, the episode itself, Star Comes to Earth. In the other dimension, in the kingdom of Muni, there's a princess named Star Butterfly who's reckless, who loves to do things her own way, fight monsters, tame wild unicorns, and she's going to be bestowed the royal magic wand, and as soon as she gets it, she like fucking destroys Muni. So her parents decide, you know what, we don't want you breaking all our nice things, so we're going to send you to Earth.
To break all their nice stuff.
Yeah, basically. And when she's on Earth, they realize that she needs a guide, someone to make sure she doesn't get into too much trouble. So the principal gets Marco Diaz, the safe kid of Echo Creek Academy, to keep an eye on her. And she moves in with coincidentally, I suppose, with the Diaz family. And she was like, oh, I didn't know these were your parents. I just assumed everyone on Earth had the last name Diaz. And I'm like, no, why would you assume that? You have no basis for that, but whatever.
That was a lucky guess.
Yeah, that was a fucking lucky guess.
I just imagine it's like she finds another family named Diaz. I'm gonna go kind of dark here, but it's like she finds another family named Diaz, like in like the ghetto.
Oh,
that would be pretty messed up.
In Boyle Heights, Los Angeles, fucking Prince Pumunch.
He'll be just there.
Yeah. You came into the wrong territory, princess.
Well, actually, that would be a very interesting episode because she would be fighting him off with her magic wand. Okay, you know what? That's going a little into
Star Butterfly versus the roster of Lucha Underground.
Basically,
that's both stupid and awesome.
It's too awesome.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
It sounds like we're singing a Hammerstein song or something. Du hast. It's too awesome.
It's too awesome.
So after just giving Marco the worst 2 hours of his life or whatever and destroying his room, he figures, you know what, nuts to this noise. I'm not, if she's gonna live here, I'm not. So he moves out. He goes crazy in front of a gas station, and when Star tries to apologize, Ludo, her archenemy, I guess, comes up to steal the wand. But then Star discovers that Marco can do karate, just seemingly out of nowhere. Yes. And then they fight off the monsters. They reconcile, and Marco says, you know, hey, it's cool if you want to stay with us. And the show goes on from there.
Yes.
So Bacon, what were your first thoughts on this first episode?
I really, really liked this first episode. I mean, it was a good introduction episode. Not the greatest introduction episode. I mean, not to be that kind of guy, but it's just that, how can I say it? We introduce the characters, but there are these little things that we were saying earlier, like, you know, oh, let's send her to Earth to just mess up their stuff, you know, not our stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, that was just interesting to me, like these little things that I noticed in Marco Diaz is the safe kid. I believe, I don't know why, when I noticed that Star was the, you know, the wild, crazy one and Marco's the safe kid, yeah. I just remembered that clip from Family Guy. And it felt like the show was going to be like that. Like, you know, Star's going to be doing something reckless and Marco's going to be like, Star, get down from there. And she's going to be like, Marco, why don't you come up? And he's going to be like, you know what? I bet I think I will.
That's not too far off. You know what I mean? I mean, Star's just doing something reckless and Marco's like, gee whiz, Star, I can't get over what a free spirit you are.
Laugh track.
Oh, but that's almost what they set up the dynamic to be. But luckily they stayed away from that because this show is well written and, you know, good. It didn't play out like that exactly. They actually have some really good chemistry.
Episode 2, Star stands on a table.
Wow, he just can't get over what a free spirit she is. But no, you're right. This is a good introduction episode. We're introduced to the basic premise. We're introduced to the main characters and a few, but not all, the secondary characters. We're introduced to Star, Marco, Ludo, and the Diaz, Mr. and Mrs. Diaz, and they all seem super nice and super cool. And let's see, I'm trying to think of any other like smart criticism with this episode, but it's not much I could think of. I mean, it just was a really good intro episode.
Yeah.
I can never say his last name correctly, but Wash from Firefly. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Steve
the Pirate from Dodgeball. You know, the Turbo from Wreck-It Ralph, and the Duke of Wesselton from Frozen. Alan Tudyk. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I can never get it right. Alan Tudyk. He was King Butterfly, and I caught that right away because it's like, oh, that's a similar voice he's done in the past. But I had no freaking idea that he was the voice of Ludo. Like, I didn't find out until like halfway through the damn show. I was like, holy shit, he was Ludo. I didn't even. That was very good.
Man, he's got some range going on there.
And I noticed. I also noticed that compared to the rest of the show, like, it's very different from this one episode compared to the rest of the series, is that Star's voice is a little bit deeper. Like I guess the actress was, like, I think this is her first major voiceover role. So I don't think the actress Eden Shear, like, I don't think she really found the Star voice, like she didn't really get it 100% until like right after she was done with this episode, or like right very at the end.
Yeah,
because she really finds that like during the third act of the episode.
She really does.
But but I think it's more noticeable in the first act that her voice gets higher pitch as the episode gets on to try to sound younger and more energetic. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, because before, I mean, she sounded like just deep, like, "Hey guys, I'm Marco," and then got to that higher pitch. I
know. It reminds me of in My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. Ashley Ball, the actress who plays Applejack in Rainbow Dash, during season 1, she noticed that even though Applejack had an accent and Rainbow Dash's voice was raspy, to her the voices were still too similar. So as the series went on, she made Applejack's voice deeper. So if you look up a recent episode, you'll notice that Applejack's voice is really deep compared to Rainbow Dash's. Yeah. So it's just one of those things that the voice actors notice as they move on.
It's just how they get a feel to the character. Like, to talk about another show, I guess LPS, Sam Vincent does the voice of a character named Russell, and in the first half of season 1, it's very deep. Like, his voice is like really deep, but then in the continuation of the show, he really finds it and like has the pitch a little bit higher.
Yeah, he really finds the Russell voice that he sticks with. But that's fine. I mean, it's a new show. Everyone's just getting started, and they get the ball rolling after that.
Yeah. And that's what I really like about, to admire about the first episode, or even the first couple of episodes. You still know that the actors and everyone are still trying to find their character, but once they find it, it's awesome.
Oh, excuse me. One thing I did notice, let's talk about something different a little bit here. Let's switch gears. One thing I did notice was everyone else's reactions to this episode, and not all of them were good. Like, when I first saw the opening sequence and then saw this episode, I predicted that my thought was, oh, everyone's going to think this show is really charming and that it's really creative and fun. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, I was right. And the chemistry, the back and forth between Star and Marco is also really great. But not everyone had nice things to say about the episode. And most of the criticism goes straight to Marco. Like, one guy, I forget his name, but I know it's on the Star vs. the Force of Evil Wikipedia page. One guy, a television reviewer for a newspaper, I don't remember if it's the Los Angeles Times or what, he said that Marco's character, like, quickly derailed and totally changed, made a complete 180 from the safe kid, because in the third act we find out that Marco knows karate. It's like, whoa, you just destroyed his character. That way you could let him fight. How that's, wow, you just completely went against everything he was building up for in that entire episode.
Which is preposterous, I think. I don't know, the idea that he would just not know how to fight, at least in a show like this, just doesn't really suit it, like, in my opinion. Is that if he was just kind of there to cower in hide in the corner while Star does all the fighting, I mean, I don't know, it would make him look more like a pansy than it, like, I mean.
Well, it definitely wouldn't help, because it sort of be like he would be a non-action guy, so it would almost be like Kim Possible all over again, because Kim did a lot of the fighting and Ron was just sort of helping out here and there. It wasn't until much later in the show that Ron could hold his own against even just regular henchmen. He doesn't even do that very well. Not that I hate Kim Possible. I love Kim Possible. Not the character, but the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, to say that, oh, you destroyed his character by making him learn karate, I'm like, shut up. If anything, it helps his character, because if he's the safe kid, if he's always trying to be safe and responsible, then I think taking martial arts classes to learn self-defense is like right there in his wheelhouse.
Yeah. It makes more sense. It makes a lot of sense. So, how can I say it? And the show would, again, be like Impossible, but I guess would that mean like Marco would just be like the comedic character, because like they would, like, a monster would go up to him and be like, "Arr!" And then you'll be like, like have pepper spray and spray it because he's like the spray over safe kid or something.
That would be hilarious, but also kind of pathetic.
Yeah, or would he be like, "That's my purse, I don't know you," and then
just kick him in the chest? Like Marco went to a woman's self-defense class. And as soon as like Three-Eyed Potato Baby goes, it's like, "I don't know you," and he kicks him in the balls. God. Let go my first. Oh, kicks him in the.
Picks it up.
Oh, it would be so lame. And not only that, but Marco knowing karate is like kind of been part of the DNA of his character since they first started the Star versus the Forces of Evil, because the original premise was that Star was not a princess. She was an elementary school student who just believed she had magical powers because she was such a big fan of Sailor Moon. And Marco wasn't her friend. He was her rival, and he was obsessed with Dragon Ball Z. So he took karate lessons because he loved Dragon Ball Z. So it's kind of like, whoa, really? You're gonna say that? And I noticed other criticism towards Marco. Like, all the criticism that anyone had for this episode was towards Marco. And one thing is like, oh, Marco was being an asshole because, he was overreacting to Star, being there. And when he at the end, when he said, oh, you can stay with us, he was only doing that so that he could have monsters attack him, so he could seem more like the misunderstood bad boy. And I'm like, no, that's a
little bit of a stretch for me to believe,
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I don't know how they got that from watching this episode.
Like, I can see Marco like overreacting to Star's craziness, because if he is the safe kid, like everyone says he is, then he does have he has a certain way that he likes things to be done. And when Star comes in and changes all that, people's initial reaction to change isn't positive. So, of course, he's going to act that way. But the whole, hey, I only want you to stay with us so monsters can't attack us so that I can look more like the misunderstood bad boy, that's like, no, I just don't see that.
And you know what's the major hole in that kind of misunderstood bad boy kind of thing?
What?
Is that if he wants the monsters to like attack or like make him look like, then he would want people around to see that. That way they're like, oh man, look how like he's so misunderstood or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you could argue that he's like just doing it for himself, for his self-esteem, but But no, he is a teenager. He is gonna want like someone to be like, hey, look, see what I'm doing? See how cool I look? He's not gonna want to keep that shit to himself.
Yeah.
But it's no, like Marco's not an asshole. Well, he's not that much of an asshole. So no, I'm gonna have to say no on this one.
Yeah, it's like to me. It's just like I said earlier. It's just something that's too much of a stretch. Like I didn't see that when I watched this episode.
No, me neither. But I just really enjoyed it. I think they really played off each other very well, and it was the start of a pretty good friendship. A great dynamic that we love throughout the show.
Yeah.
So, what's up?
No, I said that we'll be talking about more slightly later.
Yes, we will be talking about more later. This is not a Starco podcast. This is for the entire show, but we will be talking about Starco later. So keep an eye out for that, I guess. Any last thoughts before we close out our review?
Oh no, just kind of. Well, actually, I do. When you were saying that Marco was originally into Dragon Ball Z, I just kind of expected him to go to the classes and be like, "So when do we learn Ki Blast and to fly? Spirit bombs."
It's like, oh, we will learn how to do the spirit bomb as soon as your parents, pay the school fees for the year, for the whole year.
You made him sound was hilarious. We do the spirit bomb when your parents, they make you money. Yeah, I make an offer they can't refuse. No, I'm like, do it.
What character are we doing here? I don't I think we were going for something, but something else came out.
Yeah, I think I was going for an Asian guy, but then I switched to
Asian. It came out Italian. We were thinking we're the Godfather. We'll make you an offer you can't refuse. I'll give you the spirit bomb. You give me $40 million.
You just give me $300 million.
That was fucking. You just did like Bill Clinton or some shit. It sounded ridiculous. Oh my god. Oh dear Lord. So go ahead and let us know what you thought of this episode, and we'll read some of your reactions next time on the podcast.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, because I want this to be an interactive show. I want the fans to feel like they have a spot on this show.
Of course, I mean it's always a good thing to have a show where the fans can participate. Makes it a little bit better. Okay,
so that was pretty good. Great introduction episode for the first episode. Next week, we're actually not going to be doing Party with the Pony. Next week, we're going to be doing a character discussion about Star Butterfly herself, the titular character, the versus the forces of evil,
Yes, the protagonist.
We'll be talking about her, and then the week after that, we'll tackle Party with the Pony. And by the time we get through all the episodes, we should at the very least, have a release date for season 2.
Crossing our fingers.
Crossing the fingers. So, next week, we will be talking character discussion of Star Butterfly herself. And I just want to end the podcast with something fun that I really want to do. Another interactive thing to do with the fans. I want to do a fan prompt, to get all the fan artists and fan fiction writers, something to really play with and work on. And this week, I wanted it to be a crossover. I want to do a couple of crossovers first because I really like crossovers. I think they're fun. And the first crossover I want to do is with Gravity Falls. This week's prompt is Star versus the Forces of Evil crossover with Gravity Falls. Now, how you want to do it is up to you. I would probably do a story where Mr. and Mrs. Diaz go on vacation and they take Star and Marco with them and they go to the Mystery Shack. And, Star and Marco meet Dipper and Mabel. Maybe they really get along. Maybe Dipper and Marco get on each other's nerves. Maybe Mabel still on her boy crazy phase. Maybe Mabel gets a crush on Marco. I don't know. Do whatever you want, but it's it sounds like something fun.
Yeah, sounds pretty fun. We're giving you an idea, kind of
just to plant the seed.
We're planting the seed of ideas.
So yeah, we're starting off with that, and on that note, that is all the time we have for this episode. Going a good at least half hour. So thank you so much for joining us for the first episode of Talking Rainbows, Talking Puppies. This is Eric Rivera, voice actor. How you doing? With my co-host,
the one and only Downloads Bacon.
He downloads bacon. Applewood. Ew. Oh, Applewood. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Later, and of course, we'll be seeing you in the next episode. So, thanks.